This needs to be a family joke. The next time the family comes over, you gotta just have the lube out on the table or something, break the ice. Welcome to Egg's Most Okayest Farm Girls. I'm Annalise.
And I'm Courtney. Grab a drink. We're here to help.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Egg's Most Okayest Farm Girls. You know what we're talking about today? You know what we talk about all the gosh darn time? Sharing your story. But we're going to talk about it differently. As we've always said, there are so many ways to share your story. And I feel like, Courtney, you and I are really good at connecting consumers, connecting women in ag. That's our story. That's our department. But we tell people you need to be active in your community, serve on town boards, get involved in policy. But that scares the hell out of me and you.
Mm-hmm. Like we've said before, we just feel like big dum-dums sometimes. So that's why Lena's here. She's going to make us feel a lot better.
We have a special guest, someone who knows how to talk policy, how to give us the confidence in those settings, in those rooms to have those conversations. So, hello, Lane. Welcome. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for having me. I'm super excited to talk about this stuff. It doesn't need to be so scary, and it is a critical thing to do. So I'm Lane Ruhland. I am a lawyer and lobbyist, everyone's favorite professions. And having worked with a lot of lawyers and lobbyists, I understand why people might feel that way. But in my career, I've worked with a number of farmers and farm groups, and really people call on me when they have a problem they want to solve. There's some proposed ordinance, county, town level, some legislation that we need to work on in the state capitol, and I help them navigate that. So I have a little bit of experience in talking to elected officials and making your case in the public policy sphere.
Also great to just have a lawyer as a friend, because I've hit you up several times.
I need a lawyer friend. Can you be my friend now?
I'll be your friend, sure.
Okay, good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Courtney, did you have maybe a question something stirring in that old cabeza of yours to kick things off?
Yeah, and I'm going to try not to make this a huge rant, but it's relatable to a lot of our listeners. I was going through our profit and loss this morning for Green Pastures, and I was appalled. I mean, I kind of knew it was coming, but our expenses far outweigh our profit. We're in the red as far as meat sales. We are staying afloat because of our mounts, but that's not typical to most farmers. So I guess the major issue that I'm passionate about and would like my voice heard about is all of our inputs are so high. Just listen to these examples. So feed, almost $4,000. Fertilizer, almost $5,000. This was all last year, by the way. Utilities, $3,500. Meat processing, $13,000. Equipment, $20,000. Seed, $8,000. Insurance, $4,000. Breeding stock, buying livestock, $6,300. So this isn't all of our expenses, obviously, but these are just examples. And then our meat income, and I think we sold one animal, was $46,000. So the math ain't mathin'.
Preach.
This is an issue that I feel like we need to share about as farmers, because how will people know if they don't know, if we don't share? So I was hoping Lane could give us maybe some tips on what do we do? Where do we go? What do we say?
Yeah.
Help.
Yeah.
Help us.
So this is a multifaceted issue that involves a whole number of major policy issues that need to be addressed. And there's no silver bullet to it. But you guys are starting in a really good spot in that you have a platform to start with. You have your social media presence, you have this podcast. And a big part of any issue like this is just starting off talking about it, explaining all the things that you just explained, Courtney, about here's the reality of being a farmer and here's what our input costs are. Even if our ultimate, what we're selling for is good and everything, the prices on that side of things are good, we have these high input costs. And telling that story here, telling it on social media, telling it to anyone who will listen is where you have to start, because in order to make the public policy change, you do have to come with facts and information in the first place. And the more people who are aware of that, the better. So that's, I think, step one is just keep doing what you're doing and be honest and vulnerable and tell the story. Because I think one of the things that prevents a lot of people from telling their story in the first place, and you guys have talked about this, is like, it can feel like you're all alone, right? Like, I'm going to go out on a limb and say these things and people are going to have a response and I might not like what they have to say back to me.
Yeah.
But once others start to see you telling your story, they'll go, you know what? I'm dealing with that too. And if she can tell that story, I can tell the story too. So I think that's a big thing. It's just that like grassroots groundswell of people all talking about the same thing. I think for those issues in particular, one of the things I have heard from everyone, and this is everyone from your consumer to your farmer in all realms of life, is that all of these input costs are driven quite a bit by high energy costs. And a lot of that is resolved at the state level and the federal level. So there's not a whole lot to do at the local level on those things. But this is where it's important to reach out to your state representative or your state senator and just sit and have a meeting with them and go through all these things. Being very open and honest. This is untenable. We need to work on solutions. We got to help our farmers in the state. You know, it's Wisconsin after all. Like, that should be a pretty big priority. And, you know, our legislators are dealing with so many different issues that if you're not, I mean, frankly, kind of harassing them as a constituent, sometimes they can fall to the wayside. And I used to work in the state legislature as an aide, and it was an interesting moment for me. You know, I'd answer the calls a lot from constituents. And before working there, I never thought to like call my state rep or state senator when I had an issue. It was such a foreign concept to me. And now it seems so obvious, you know, that's what I do. And, you know, you get people that call and they're kind of crazy, to be honest. And it's like, well, that's maybe not the way to go about it. But if you come in and you have information, you know, it requires a little bit of preparation, but just sitting down and talking to them about here's my problems. You don't even have to have the solutions, but opening that line of communication is so important. And I know people are intimidated to do that because it's like, oh, that's an elected official. Like, but they're just people. They're people from our communities that just, you know, they stick their neck out. And I found that if you're just polite and have information, it doesn't matter what political party they're from. They're willing to talk to you. That's their job, and they should be. And obviously, if they're not and they're unhelpful, there's things you can do about that too. But I think starting there and just telling your story, not only to the public to make sure they're talking about it too and are educated, but you got to just show up. I mean, that's a lesson at every level of government. You don't have to have solutions. You don't even have to go and speak at these town boards, county boards, but just showing up and listening to what they're talking about. That's going to be a game changer right there, because oftentimes, especially farmers, you guys are a little busy. You're trying to run your farm and stay out of the red as much as you can. There's a lot of people that don't have anything better to do, frankly, but show up to those meetings, and they don't know about what you do. They don't know how farming works, but they're more than happy to share their perspective. And so you get elected officials not hearing from you guys. And that's going to have a big impact on policy. Or if they don't know it's a problem, they're not going to necessarily do anything about it. So again, just talking about it in every venue you have, and make those meetings with your representatives and start there and talk about it.
So I have a question.
I have so many.
Please.
Can you call in and just leave a message? Because I think a lot of times people are scared to speak to a professional.
Yeah.
You can leave a message, right?
You can leave a message. You can send an email. You can start there. I know for a lot of people, email is just like a nice foray into it because you don't have to feel like you're on the spot to answer questions. So yeah, send emails. The other thing farmers have to remember in any of this, regardless of who they're talking to, they're going to know more about farming than anyone else. You're going to know more about farming than a legislative aide who answers the phone. You show up to a town board meeting, you're going to know more about farming, unless, of course, hopefully, there's some farmer that, is representing on that board. You're going to know more than anyone else about what your problems are. So it feels like you need to have all the answers, and you just do not. You don't even have to be good at speaking. You don't have to necessarily formulate some well put together presentation. You just have to talk. You just have to open that line, and it just gets easier and easier and easier every time. And I know I've been doing this for a little over a decade, and all these things you work up in your brain about like, oh, they're going to come after me on this, or it just never comes to fruition. I don't know how many times I've had to testify in the state capitol, and still I do this after a decade. I'll sit there and I'll go through every tough, mean question I can imagine. And usually it's like one or two actual legitimate questions, not gotcha. And then they're like, okay, thank you. And I'm like, okay. So I just panicked for 6 hours for nothing.
As we all do over everything.
Absolutely. Then you do it for a living. You still do it.
Yeah.
It's just never going to be as bad as you think. And usually people are happy to hear a different perspective as long as you're just polite. And I like to suggest appealing to elected officials' sense of duty to help. They do like to help, a lot of them anyway. They like to help. They like to kind of be the hero in the situation. And so if you come to them like, I really need your help, here's what's going on, I think you can get a long way with that.
I'm glad you've said two things. One, that these elected officials are people just like us, because far too often, I think we all get in our heads thinking they're smarter, they're better, I'm a nobody, like I better just keep my mouth shut. And like, that's not true. And Courtney, you and I talk about this all the time. We talk about it with our kids' teachers. Like everybody seems scary and like they know it all, but they don't know it all. And that's why you have to share your story. And I also like that you said, like, just get started and show up and listen and be present and like take it one step at a time. Like that's doable.
Yeah. And you learn something new every time. So you sit down with a state legislator, whoever it is, and you go through your problems, and they know about the different levers that can be pressed in government that maybe you don't know about. So if you go to them and talk about, we're having this issue with our input costs, I think a lot of this is driven by energy. They can say, oh, well, our Public Service Commission is the one who approves our energy rates. Like there's a place to, maybe turn. Or if they are really motivated to help, they can have those conversations with those public service commissioners. Or they can say, I need to talk to so-and-so, or this particular state agency actually handles that issue. Here's someone to talk to. Oftentimes what I will do is with farmers when they're having a particular issue with like the Wisconsin DNR or DACCAP is I'll get their senator and representative in a room with the farmer and a representative from that agency. And, your elected officials can help you facilitate those meetings. And you can do a whole lot just sitting down. Like if you're having a particular issue with that agency, just sitting down and walking through, this is the issue we're having, like help us come to a resolution. And again, you're exactly right. It's just getting started and opening the lines of communication. It gets easier every time. You learn something new every time. You learn a new kind of touch point you can attack to get your problem solved each time. And, you do have to be patient, but you also just have to keep at it because it is that important. And it can be intimidating to stick your neck out. But I know for me personally, anytime I've done that, and I've worked on some very controversial things, I've had articles written about me that are unflattering. People in my community say things that are unflattering because I stuck my neck out. But at the end of the day, it's always worth it. And especially if you're fighting for your own farm and your family, it's going to feel worth it. Even if it is a little scary and uncomfortable and kind of puts you out there, it's going to be worth it.
Do you have any specific stories of kind of like when a farmer did share their story and it made a really big change? Is there one that sticks out?
Oh gosh, absolutely. Well, I think I have a couple. So one, just generally, there was an effort to increase certain DAT cap transport fees by, I think, for some like 1,700%, just sort of overnight. And for a lot of larger transporters, that would have been thousands of dollars in new fees. And there was a huge groundswell of farmers who worked individually and through their associations like the Farm Bureau to say absolutely not. They shared their stories, and that proposed fee increase was retracted pretty quickly. So that's a major one. And that was just a matter of everyone talking about it and saying, no, this isn't going to happen. On a more individual level, I worked with a couple of farmers who had an issue, a local issue. They were concerned about some ordinances being passed. And the advice to them was, you need to just show up to your meetings. Literally just go and sit and listen. And we had a farmer that started out that way. He didn't want to be a part of any of this. He didn't want to speak. He went and sat and he listened as they were debating this ordinance. And he was so appalled by how these decisions were being made and the lack of farmer input that even just sitting there, he was like, okay, I can't just not do anything. Like that was enough to get him involved. He went, sat, finally was like, okay, at this one, I have to speak. I have to say something. Spoke up. Eventually, it got to the point that he ran for county board. And now he's the chair of his land and water committee for his county.
Nice.
So he is the one that is kind of the final say on these big issues that touch farmers in his county. And this is up in the northeastern part of the state where there's a lot of issues related to ag, especially in the context of water. And now he's the one who is kind of the final say on a lot of these things and has a lot of influence. So it started out as someone who didn't even want to go to these meetings to now being an elected official himself. And I think there cannot be enough farmers on these local boards. I mean, whether it's ag policy or just anything else, like the common sense, innovation, all of those attributes that make you a good farmer, they help you as a policymaker.
Mm-hmm.
You're inspiring me to go to a gosh darn meeting now. Like, I'm like, I gotta go. I need to go listen. And because I don't know, in my head, it seems scary. It seems like I won't make a difference. I don't know enough. All the imposter syndrome things. But like you're saying, just get started. Sit, listen. You're probably going to hear something that you're passionate about and want to make change with. And then the wheels just keep rolling.
Yeah, absolutely. And just showing up and building those relationships so your town board knows who you are. And maybe when they are debating some policy or thinking about introducing some new ordinance, they'll go, you know what, I should talk to Courtney about this first. I should talk to Annalise. She's been coming to these meetings. We've talked. I know what she's doing. She probably has some insight on this that would be helpful as we make these decisions. Seriously, I mean, to me, for my clients, that's one of the biggest victories starting out is just making the policymakers aware that you exist and can be a resource. And it's like, okay, there's this particular policy coming up. Maybe I should reach out to Lane and see what her members think about this. That's a huge victory in and of itself right there. And that only happens if they know you, know your story, and you're available to talk to them.
Where does one find out when and where meetings are?
Yeah, most of the times, even down to the town level, they have websites. So if you just like Google town of whatever, they'll post their agenda. They'll post their upcoming meetings on the website.
Okay.
So I'd say start there. They'll post them like at the town hall if they don't have that website, and you can look up and see when they are. Some post in newspapers, some post in like online newspapers, but you can also just call and ask. I mean, that's a big thing people also don't do. It's just like calling and asking, okay, this particular ordinance is coming up. Like, what are the steps? When's the next meeting? Okay, who does that have to be approved by? Because typically with like ordinances in particular, there's some subcommittee that has to review the ordinance first. So that's one meeting you can show up to before it goes to the full board. But just calling like the clerk, reaching out to the town, the county, and asking those questions. When's the next meeting? Can I get a copy of the agenda? That's a great place to start.
All right, guys, listen up. I did a thing. Your girl wrote a children's book. That's right, a children's book. And it is based upon my favorite cow, Judy. Judy the cow is having a no good, a very bad day, and everyone on the farm knows it. With gentle guidance and a reminder to focus on the good, Judy learns that feelings are okay and moods can change. It is, if I do say so myself, a charming farmyard tale about emotions, gratitude, and friendship. It is a perfect book for ages, I'd say 0 to 8. It is on sale May 6th on Amazon, and I am hoping you will go buy it for everybody you know. The more people we can get to buy this book on May 6th, the better chance I have of becoming an Amazon best-selling author. So help a girl out. Go get this book. It's funny. It's cute. You're going to love it. I had so many questions, but you've answered literally all of them. I'm trying to go back through. Is there anything we missed? But I feel like you've really covered them all. My other question is just kind of what are the differences between local, state, and federal? Where does someone who is just beginning have the biggest impact?
Definitely at the local level. So much of the policy that affects our day-to-day lives starts closest to us. So town boards, county boards, again, our state legislature, they are very accessible. And they're also very good at saying sorry, this really isn't a state issue, but you should reach out to your town. They can provide you all that information. They can look up when those meetings are for you. They will help you get connected at the local level also. So federal level, of course, it's that seems really insurmountable. But again, same as our state legislators, our congressional representatives are also very available. There's nothing preventing you from calling them and talking to someone in their office or having an in-district meeting with them. Just like our local and state elected officials, they are just people too. I know a lot of them pretty well because of the work I do, and they are just people. They just happen to be elected to federal office. So I guess a big takeaway too that I would say to anyone who's listening, I guess a couple things. One, don't assume that someone else is advocating for you and helping you. That is the worst thing you can do.
I do that.
Yeah, we all do it. We all do it. I still have to remind myself as someone who does this for a living, no one's going to help me on that issue the same way I can help. I have a unique experience. You guys have unique experiences. So don't just assume someone else is doing it. 2, if you're not at the table, you are likely on the menu. That's another thing I tell people all the time. Because there are people who will show up who do not have your interests at heart. They're loud. They make their presence known. And oftentimes that's the only type of person that our elected officials are hearing from. And even if our elected officials don't want to do anything that's harmful or unhelpful to farmers, when that's all they're hearing, you kind of lose. It's like that incremental loss. And then you're running from behind trying to defend your position. You got to show up. If you're not at the table, you're likely on the menu.
I've experienced that firsthand, actually. Just I'm a part of a committee and one member just wanted to vote for things that really just helped herself and not. So I told everybody, I'm like, well, we have to be here.
Yeah, you have to. Otherwise, how is anyone going to know that there's some problem
Right.
that needs to be resolved
Right.
and what the right solution is? So
I feel like that's a great place to end this conversation. And listeners, if you aren't feeling inspired to go take action, well, then I don't know what's wrong with you. Go share your story. It's important. You can make change. But we got to move on to a farm girl confession. And Lane, you get the joy of helping us with the rest of our 3 segments. So, Courtney, fire up that confession.
I'm an avid listener, so this is like super exciting for me to be a part of this part of it.
Is it everything you expected it to be?
Oh, it is.
Good.
It is. Here we go.
So I got a funny story, embarrassing story for you. It wasn't me that specifically said it, but it was my child. So I was on a video call with my sister-in-laws, and my husband was on the call too, and my mother and father-in-law. Anyways, the child is in her room, which he's not supposed to be, and he goes, what's lube? And I just found that. I didn't know what to say. So I was like, you use it for cows to breed for AI, you know. We have some in the barn. And he's like, yeah, well, why do you have some in your bedroom? That's kind of weird. And I was like, adults use it too for lotion, but it's only for adults. He's like, oh, can I have some? And I was like, no. And I think you should go play on your tablet or whatever. And they heard it. Everyone heard it in the video call, and I was absolutely mortified. I could not be in the call anymore, and no one has spoke of it ever since.
Oh my gosh, that's so good. I mean, she did the right thing. I would have also been like, we use it for the cows. But when then he asked, but why is it in your room? I would have been like, I don't know. I guess I brought it home from the farm. Like, I would have kept playing it off.
It was in my pocket. I didn't realize.
Yeah.
I would have tried to save it too, but
You could buy small bottles of lube for cows. Yeah, right. It comes in big jugs. Like,
Kids will never just leave it alone either,
I know,
especially when it's something that you definitely don't want to talk about. It's just like you see the gears going and you're just like, no.
right? They're like, did you hear me?
Yeah.
Like,
It's just,
I feel like I don't like that the family hasn't talked about it since. We got to make this a joke. This needs to be a family joke. The next time the family comes over, you got to like just have the lube out on the table or something. Like break the ice. Like let's just... Right?
yes.
Oh my gosh, that was a good one. All right, let's move on to what the hell. And we'll let our guest go first. Lane, what made you go what the hell this week?
well, it made me go more than what the hell. There was an F word at the end of it. So I was just recently on a hunt in Texas. That's like, I love hunting. That's my new happy place. I can't evangelize about it enough. But anyway, again, that's my one happy place. And we all have jobs where we're never really off, ever, even when you're on vacation, right? There's always something you're worrying about or something you need to do. So when I set that vacation message on my email, that's like a signal to everyone about like, I am serious, that I am gone, and everyone can just relax. Nothing that I'm doing, unlike maybe you guys, is life or death. So it can wait. So my what the hell moment is I have my away message that says, I will get back to you as soon as I can. My access to email is limited. People will email me because I see the email come through with something that is not urgent. And I don't respond within a couple hours. And then they text me.
Stop
So
it.
annoying.
Please call me as soon as you can. Or they'll text me the question on the, that they emailed me about. And I just have to go, what the hell?
Did you not read?
Right. It's like,
Yes.
I said I will get back to you. And this is something that happens inevitably every time I try
my
to
God.
get away. It's just like,
It's just rude.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that. No.
No. Ugh. I feel like that's such a US thing, too. I feel like over in the European countries, they value rest and vacation so much more than we do. And it's like, what is wrong with us? Why do we operate this way? Why are we always go, 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 and nobody's allowed to rest? Nothing can wait. I hate this world.
Mm-hmm.
It's so bad for our brains and our bodies too, because I don't know if you guys get like this, but whenever I get an email or a notification and I know it's work related, you get that like dump of like cortisol, like, ugh, so then when that's happening, especially when you're trying to get away, and it's just like, come on, I wouldn't do this to my accountant or something, I don't know, maybe it's like the world I work in is a little different and it's so fast paced and whatever, but I'm just like, I just wouldn't do this to anyone. I wouldn't do this to my doctor. I can barely talk to them at all these days,
Right? It's not an emergency.
It's like a business put a sign on the door that said closed until whatever time. And then a customer still came and banged on the door and was like, let me in, You wouldn't do that. So why are you emailing someone that clearly has a sign on their door that says not open? Like,
right. Not asking for a lot. Not asking for a lot. And it's partially my problem because I'm way too available and will break all of my own rules about like, I'm not going to respond to you after like around dinner time. Like that's my family time. And I break those rules all the time. So it's partially my fault and a good lesson of like, you got to set those boundaries and stick to it. Otherwise people will just ram right through it.
Right. It's hard too, though, because you just think about all the messages and stuff you have to respond to, and it just keeps building up. And you're like, I just don't want my first day back to be
insane.
Horrible.
Yeah.
I know. I agree. Like, same, it's my fault because I love to peek. I love to see, like, oh, did I get any new messages or emails? And then when I do, I'm like, shit, now I have to respond because otherwise I'm going to forget and it'll get lost. Within and don't peek, Annalise. Don't peek.
Yeah, I heard about they have these boxes you can buy off Amazon that like have a timed lock on them. You put your phone in there, you set the timer, and you can't get into it. And I'm like, I don't know if that would make me more anxious. So
Same.
I don't know.
I did forget my phone, and that felt amazing.
Yes.
Like I forgot it on vacation. Like I brought it to vacation, but we left for the day and I forgot it and it was amazing.
The little joys. Well, here's what made me go, what the hell? Lane and I were watching this, I think it was like a National Geographic documentary on bees, and they were talking about honeybees. And I am a new fan of the honeybee because they are a matriarchal. I can't say it.
A matriarch? Let's just leave it at
that. We know.
The females are running the thing, right? So it turns out, at least with honeybees, the females are born early in the year and they are the workers. So they're born, they start collecting the nectar, making the honey. In the warmer months, the males are born. The males are expected to go out and breed. And once they come back and it starts getting colder, the female bees literally attack the males and like push them out of the hive. And like there was video of this and it was the most amazing thing I ever saw. They're just like, and the narrator is like, the male bees are worthless. They can't even feed themselves. I was just looking at Tom and Lane. I was like, you idiots, you stupid boys.
I love that.
I know. I was just like, yeah, bees. It was very captivating to watch. And I always knew bees were important, but now I love them even more.
Mm-hmm. Well, thanks for that fun fact.
Yeah. Go watch it. It's on the Disney Channel.
Well, my, what the hell? It's kind of a downer. I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
But our first calf of the season didn't make it.
Oh.
Because, and I've never seen this in a longhorn, but the mom just stopped pushing and just let it die. It was like we found it just like hanging out of her.
Do you know, did it start alive?
I think
like,
it did.
Do you think it was? It wasn't like already dead inside her and she was just aborting it?
I think it was alive.
Oh.
And Aaron like went to go do something. He's like, I'll check on her in like an hour. And by the time he got back, the calf was dead. And I was like,
wow.
I've never seen a mama. She wasn't struggling. She just like stopped. She just didn't want to.
Holsteins do that a lot. I don't know as much about like beef breeds. Holsteins are kind of lazy, man. They just want to do themselves. And it's not always the case. Like most of the time they can calve and get a calf out by themselves, no problem. But there's been so many times where they're just like, nah, I'm going to go eat this TMR and not do anything. And then we have to, go pull it or do something. And it's like,
yeah, that's
girl.
what she was doing. She was just standing at the feed bunk eating. Like, do you not notice you have a half dead calf hanging out of you? Like, what the fuck?
Oh my God.
Maybe she's like, well, it's dead. I'll just wait for someone else to take care of it.
Yeah, I'll just have them deal with this.
This is too much.
All right. Let's move on to what you ought to know. And I feel like my what you ought to know could come in very handy if you are at some sort of policy meeting and you're hearing something you don't like. If someone is acting a fool, acting like an asshole, instead of calling them a twat, what you're going to say is, there we are then, which also, if you take those letters, stands for twat. Get it?
That's so clever.
There we are then. Twat. There we are then. It's like kind of like you know how people in the South say like, oh, what do they say? Bless her
Bless
heart.
your heart.
Yes.
Yep. Like, I'm from Texas, so I've definitely used that. Yeah.
Yeah. There we are then.
There we are then.
I feel like, have you had, like, tell us about a meeting where you were just like shocked by the words coming out of someone's mouth?
Oh, I have a good one. I was testifying on legislation related to energy once, and I was on a panel with some of like the biggest employers in the state. They're manufacturing companies. And I can't remember exactly like what was said. One of these employers said something about like taking time to come do this. And one of the legislators completely misunderstood what he was saying and just blew up and actually kicked us off the panel. And that one really, I'm just like, regardless of whether you're on an opposing side of an issue, like kicking some of the state's biggest employers out of a public meeting is kind of an interesting choice. I've heard people at some of these local meetings make claims about like the impacts of farms on water and how that's, and like the health impacts that they're referring to with like no evidence. They just say things that like it's
a cow fart crowd.
Yeah, it's killing all of these. And sometimes you're just like, huh, that's interesting. But I mean, there's never a shortage. Yeah, never a shortage of just wild things that you hear.
Oh, all right. Courtney, what do you want everyone to know?
Oh, this is kind of random, but so there's some things I've learned gardening over the last like 7 years.
Okay.
And I've learned a few things recently I feel like I need to share in case anyone else is on this journey of seed starting. Lupine. So I never had a good turnout with growing this from seed.
What's lupine?
And I
a
finally
flower?
realized, yeah.
Okay.
The big, tall, purple pinks. They're
like
beautiful.
stalk?
They're a great cut flower. Yeah.
Okay.
The seeds require scarification. So like you take the seed and run it across some sandpaper, then you put it in the soil. And I've got 100% success rate for germination.
Wow.
I didn't know.
That's so crazy to me because like what in nature would have caused the seed to be scraped like it had been like,
right.
What a high maintenance flower of like, actually you need to get out sandpaper and scrape me up before I'll do something for you.
I know. And there's a variety that is native. Like you can find, so it's like, what is doing
crazy.
That out there?
Like, do you think birds try to
peck
this
that's a really good point.
it?
Yeah.
Then maybe they're like, actually, ew, this is a gross seed. I don't want to eat it. And then it maybe
spitting it back out.
Yeah.
Great point.
And then also a few others. Lavender requires cold stratification, which I didn't realize at first. And if you put a couple seeds in like each cube of a ice cube tray, put water in it, freeze it, and then I can't remember how many months it has to stay in the freezer, but you just pop it out and push it into the soil.
Mm.
And then you can germinate lavender.
This explains why the only flowers that came up for me last year were zinnias and sunflowers. Like, I was
there's just
shoving
more
seeds in the
to-
ground.
Right. There's a lot to it that I don't remember any of these things ever being on the packet of a seed pack.
Yeah. Give us the directions. Why is this not as easy as Kraft macaroni and cheese?
Right? And then one last one is to not bury. A lot of like the really tiny seeds require light to germinate. And I've always just been like sprinkling soil on the top. And I've found that that's just not good enough. Like they need to be on the very top of the soil. So plants like amaranth,
Words are hard.
snapdragons is another one. Like just sprinkle a couple seeds on the top and you can just press it in slightly. That's all you need to do. Don't bury it or else it's not going to germinate.
It is April 9th right now. Is it too late to start seeds inside? I got time?
No.
I should probably do that because in the past I've
for
just been sticking my flower seeds in the ground in May and living on a prayer, I guess.
Yeah. A lot of these need more time in order to get blossoms and blooms. So
All right.
It is really an art form to garden. I have a black thumb, so I'm like happy with my tomatoes and my tiny little garden that still survived despite my efforts to kill all of them. This is really something. It is an art form. Like,
you learn as you go.
yeah.
Crazy. Well, now I feel inspired to go to a board meeting. I feel inspired to start my flowers, get out there and garden. I mean, I'm sorry, we got to end this. I got places to go and things to do.
Yeah. I'm going to run for president.
Good.
Now.
yeah.
After this.
Could you imagine?
If the world was run by women, though, do you feel like there would be less conflicts?
The honeybee theory.
Yeah.
Just
Like maybe we would just solve things over coffee and be like, let's talk this out.
I know.
Imagine the grudges held, though. Like, everyone would be afraid to move because there'd like be so many grudges.
Well, don't cross me.
Yeah.
And it'll be fine.
Yeah.
We're on to something. We'll chat again in 10 years, see where Courtney is in the White House. And
That's right. We'll have the most beautiful garden.
Hell yeah. Make some improvements over there.
maybe you were a honeybee. You really like planting flowers. Maybe you used to be a honeybee.
Maybe.
You hate men.
Yeah.
You love flowers. It checks out.
For the record, I don't hate all men.
No, just them as a
most of them.
group. Yeah. There's individual ones we like, but groups of them, nah.
Anyways,
Okay. Should we go? Is this it?
I think that
We never know.
I never
how
had
to end it.
anything like a sign off, like besides bye.
Let's let Lane send everyone off. Any final inspirational words to really get farm gals and pals out there speaking and sharing their story?
Oh gosh, just show up. Just do it. Just try it. Even if you have no pending problem, just show up. It's really easy to do. Take an hour or two out of your day once a month. Show up. It's not going to get worse for you by doing that.
It sounds like you can find a problem very easily.
Oh,
if you
you'll
sit.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you'll find one. So if you're looking for problems, no.
We were going to call this episode like Farm Girls Talk About Making Your Story Heard, but now I feel like it could be Farm Girls Talk About Showing Up. Farm Girls Talk About Showing Up and Finding Problems. I don't know.
I like it.
Yeah, go be that honeybee and solve it.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that, guys, we will see you next time. Go have a day. Bye.
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 Guys, thanks for hanging out with us today.
If you had as much fun as we did, would you do us a favor and share this episode with a friend?
Speaking of friends, can we all be friends over on the Instagram? You can find me at @modfarmchick.
And me at Mrs. Green Pastures Cattle.
See you next week, guys.